Hello, ladies. That is Mom and Callie. I'm sure there are more of you out there watching, but I think those are the 2 subscribers. And hello to you 2,000 plus gentlemen subscribers and all the rest of you non-subscribers, which, you know, just a thought. There's a little blue thing below here that says subscribe. You could maybe, click on that. Maybe hit the little bell to get notified of future episodes. Just a thought, no pressure. Just, thinking aloud here. Of course, I'm Steve, your OG guitar nut, wearing my wholly appropriate Chibson t-shirt today as I'm caressing this lovely Chipsson Explorer from Temu. I'm going to be reviewing this today, as you might have gathered from the thumbnail. Originally, this was going to be kind of a 3-for-1 sort of a review. I'm going to review the guitar itself, of course, but also I was going to review a pretty cool vibrato system that I purchased to install on this. It's going to go right over these studs here. It's supposed to be practically effortless to install. We'll find out. But also, I wanted to review this little tool, which for me has been a life changer. This thing is called the Fret Fixer, and it's funny. The reason you thought I was going to be able to, show you this today is because I was sure that this Explorer was going to have at least, 1 or 2 dead frets. It's pretty much to be expected. You're going to have a high fret here or there when you're talking about $200 guitars, right? Well, it didn't have any. I didn't need this, but I will feature this in a future video. I have a couple of guitars. I have a bass in particular in mind that has several fret issues that this could fix, and it's a $99 tool. Sounds like a lot of money until you realize what it does and how it does it and what it will save you. Anyway, we'll feature that later. So for now, what we have here is a Chipsson Explorer. Now keep in mind that I've owned a genuine Explorer that I bought brand new in August of '87. Wow, it's been a while, hasn't it? And it's August now. Another anniversary coming up. Anyway, it was an '85 Explorer. If you've been watching this show at all, you've seen it before. It's 3-tone purple. I bought it new old stock. Technically I put it on, it's an '85. I put it on a layaway in September of '86. Finally took it home August of '87 after working for 11 months to pay for it. But anyway, so I know my way around an Explorer, and I know Gibsons because I've owned many. So let's talk about this guy. It's a good player. I had no trouble at all setting the action. The truss rod actually didn't need any adjustment, although if it did, it'd be easy enough to do. The truss rod cover has 3 screws, which of course is not Gibson correct. I don't know why they wouldn't just have used the 2 screws so it looked more authentic. Oh, there's that word. But whatever. See, what else isn't authentic? Well, I mean, the whole thing isn't authentic, but you might notice that the control knobs here, the lead volume and the tone are closer together than the lead volume and the neck volume, which is well, wrong, so to speak. They'd be equidistant on the real deal. Hardware, regular cheap tuners that I would at some point in time maybe consider, upgrading to some locking jobs. Tailpiece is your basic tailpiece, full weight. Bridge is a tune-o-matic, which means it's prone to buzzing. You gotta putz around with the saddles till you get them stable. But that is true of every guitar I've ever owned with a tune-o-matic bridge, regardless of the brand, regardless of how much I paid for it. Which, if I didn't already get that across to you, this was a $200 guitar from Temu. Let's see what else. Pickups. Surprisingly, they're not microphonic. I really don't hear anything wrong with them. They just sound like your basic humbuckers. I wouldn't think they were potted. I mean, I haven't taken them out to look, but they don't make any extraneous noises, and like I said, they're not microphonic, so who knows? So I got nothing bad to say about those. Nut seems to be cut okay. Of course, I'll soon be expanding it to put in bigger strings because, well, to be honest, this will be the first time in, geez, at least 6 months that I've actually played a guitar in standard E tuning. I've adopted C sharp, the Doom tuning for virtually everything I own now, unless it's a baritone, in which case it's a B, of course. But I'm so used to C sharp standard now that this feels and sounds odd to me, but that's okay. But yeah, the nut seems okay. Frets. No fret sprout. Nothing sharp. In fact, these are ball end frets, which means they can't be sharp. I don't think they're stainless steel because it would have mentioned it in the listing, I believe. But regardless, yeah, fretwork, it's fine. The frets aren't even scratchy. When I get the strings off and everything, I'll probably go ahead and polish them a little bit more just for the sake of being, thorough. And, I'll put some oil on the fingerboard to condition and all that kind of stuff. But in general, yeah, it's a solid instrument, glued in neck just like the real thing. I'll just say it, it's a hell of a deal for $200. Weight, it feels like most Explorers. I can't compare it to mine because mine, I think, was a factory error. My Explorer weighs more than any other one I've ever held. Most Explorers are fairly featherweight. This is heavier than most I've played, but like I said, nowhere near as heavy as mine. What else is there? This neck is quite a bit fuller and thicker in the hand than on my Explorer, than on most your slim tapered Gibsons. This is probably something more akin to like I don't know if it's as big as the so-called 1958 spec, like Les Pauls or whatever, but it's definitely a little thicker than most Gibsons I've played. What else could I mention? Not a heck of a lot. I mean, the build quality, very solid. Cosmetic issues, yeah, they abound. And for $200, who gives a rat's ass? There's a little red speck here on the back that's under the finish. There's some bubbly kind of buildup around the neck pocket where it fits into the body. A few spots. You can feel as you get close to the nut, you can feel a bit of a ridge in the paint between the fingerboard and the neck itself. All completely minor things that I honestly could not care less about on a guitar that's $200, and B, a guitar that is strictly for stage use. This isn't a collectible. This probably isn't even anything I'd take to a studio, but for a gig, yeah, especially playing Doom like I, intend to be doing. So what else can I tell you? How about we give it a listen? I'm running through my standard rig here, the Amp of Doom 72 Custom Hustler, and a recent Roland JC40. For those of you who might be interested, let me hit my switcher box. Here's the sound of the Hustler in oscillation. And the JC40 in isolation. You'll notice the JC is a little quieter because when you put them together, it actually makes the perfect blend. So yeah, and as I mentioned, no microphonics in the pickups, no particular extraneous noise. They are what they are. You're listening to the bridge pickup at the moment, and through my rig with my multiple fuzz pedals in parallel, as is my want. Sorry about that, folks. I'm back. My dumbass forgot to put the phone that I'm using to record this on airplane mode, and a text came in and it screwed everything up. Where was I? Oh, yeah, I was going to show you guys the sounds. So I switched over to the Roland by itself. It's clean setting. Not that anybody except for maybe the Edge is probably using an Explorer for cleans. I don't know, does James Hetfield use his Explorer for the clean parts of Metallica songs? I wouldn't know. If I'm being frank, I kind of can't stand Metallica. Leave your hate in the, comments below. But regardless, here is bridge pickup. Middle. I really like that middle position on clean, that's nice. And neck. So yeah, it does clean, but of course, you're probably not playing Explorer for cleans. You're probably more for tones like this. Yeah, so yeah, it does that. Bridge, middle. And neck. And we can, of course, back off the tone. Strap came off. So, tone off, lots of fuzz, neck pickup. It does that, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, so I have absolutely no qualms about this guitar whatsoever. For 200 bucks, it's made for live gigs. I wouldn't take it to the studio. I don't know that I would take it to a high-profile gig, but if you know what I'm into, which is doom music, you'll know that those are few and far between anyway. But no, it's a great guitar. I don't know what else I would say. Yes, it's got a thicker neck. Yes, it's got a few, finish imperfections. Who gives a rat's? I mean, if you spent $2,000 on a Gibson, you'd care a lot, as you should. But this, come on. Yeah, I got nothing to say about this that's negative at all. Yeah, it's just, it's a cool guitar. So, yeah, I'd give it very high ratings. And as I said, the ratings come with a caveat of being, when I tell you that this is a buy, I'm not telling you that it's perfect, but you'd almost have to be a moron to think you're going to get a perfect guitar for $200. For what it is, it's a steal. So anyway, that's the guitar. Yeah. Do I recommend this? Yeah, totally. Now what I want to do, I'm going to be taking these strings off, as I said, doing all the things, conditioning the fingerboard and polishing the frets a little bit better and whatever, just your usual crap. But I'm going to lose this tailpiece and replace it with this. Whoa, hello. Definitely use strap locks on an Explorer. This looks identical to, but isn't branded as Geiker, G-U-I-K-E-R, which is the name brand version of this that I've seen. It's a vibrato system that's made to just literally fit kind of right onto the studs where the tailpiece would be, and doesn't require any drilling, doesn't require much of anything. So what I'm going to do, I'm really not equipped to set up in such a way that you can watch me do things. But most of what I have to do is going to be boring as hell anyway, cutting the strings off and blah, blah, blah. I'll come back and show you the installation itself. And then of course, once it's finished, I'll show you the finished product, which I'm hoping will be cool. I'm not a vibrato guy anyway, per se. The only guitar I've ever owned that had a vibrato that I used extensively was my original 2007 Paul Reed Smith Santana SE, which for reasons I'll never understand had a vibrato that was just perfect. It didn't go out of tune, didn't have a locking nut. It was perfect. Why did I get rid of the guitar? Why does anyone do anything? But yeah, but I would like to see, how this vibrato, tremolo is a volume fluctuation. Vibrato is a pitch fluctuation. I want to see how it goes, and see things like, is it stable and will it stay in tune? Because that's what really matters to me. I like to be able to have the option here and there of getting my wang on a little bit if I need to or feel like it, but not at the cost of killing my tone, my sustain, my tuning, stability, all those things. So anyway, that's where we're at. I'm going to go away and come back. To you, it'll be instantaneous. To me, it'll be however long it is. But in the meanwhile, if you go over to Temu and you see one of these, now I can't guarantee yours is going to be as good as mine. There's more than one seller selling these, although I have a very strong suspicion that while there's multiple sellers, I think they all might be coming out of the same couple of factories. In fact, I strongly suspect that be the case, because of the many Chibsons I've purchased from Temu, they all came from different sellers, and they all have some very similar, familiar, quirky traits. So I think they might all be, from the same place. So regardless, check it out if you're interested. They've got a whole line of stuff. Just don't get sucked into the Temu thing like I did, where you wind up blowing vast amounts of money and wasting enormous amounts of time without even realizing you're doing it, because they are really good at drawing you in. But if you just want to drop by and buy a guitar, hey, right on. So anyway, I'm going to go, and I will be back very soon. Stay tuned. Hey y'all, just dropping in to show you this. I've just installed the vibrato system. And honestly, it could not have been easier. You literally take the original studs out, and it gives you receivers that you can put into the body if you need them. But as it turns out, the new studs fit the existing receivers perfectly, so there was no need. You set the trem down, vibrato, sorry. You set the unit down, tighten these. Then you put the handle in, tighten it. Now, I should mention that they give you 3 different little Allen wrenches here. The large one is for adjusting the whole unit. Small one appears to be for adjusting this little screw here that I think holds the whole arm assembly on. So both of those did need to be touched. And then the middle one is actually for installing the arm. you can make the arm virtually any length you want. I like a long arm if I'm going to use one. So that's what I did. Let's slide off there. I made it pretty long. And there it is. I mean, it's literally that simple. Now it's just a matter of installing the strings and, that's about it. So I'll be right back. And I'm back, and here it is. What can I say right offhand? Installation could hardly have been any easier. It was just as simple as what I showed you a few moments ago. A couple of bolts, real simple, and they give you the little Allen wrenches you need to adjust everything. Then setup, you have to tune and retune because every time you tighten a string, it moves the tailpiece a bit. So it's not nearly as bad as like trying to set up a Floyd Rose, but it takes a little time. Honestly, my biggest time suck was fighting with this damn Tune-O-Matic bridge to try to stop it from rattling. I hate these things. I am actively looking for an upgrade, an improvement that doesn't rattle. Of course, I'm going to need a bunch of them. But in any case, no, setup was simple enough. It works well. I'm tuned down to C sharp now, of course. Things like that, pretty much what you do with a Bigsby. Shouldn't harm your tuning at all. It might work better with a roller bridge. I've heard people complain that roller bridges rattle. I can't imagine anything rattling more than this. Also, I haven't lubricated the nut. If I lubricated the nut, that could make a substantial difference, I imagine. I do have some nut sauce over there. Yeah, Q Beavis and Butthead here. It doesn't, it'll pull up and down. It seems to work best for your vibrato needs if you do both. Plus that helps keep the tension so that you're not getting too flat or too sharp after you let go. You're kind of self-regulating, I guess you'd say. What else? Am I satisfied? Absolutely. I think, if I recall, again, this was a Temu buy. I believe I paid $35 for this bad boy. The actual Geiger version, which for all I know this could be, but as I said, it's not labeled, I think is a little more money. You can get them on Amazon. In any case, works a charm. One thing I will mention that's important for you fellow doomers out there, other low tuners, this will probably work fine with anything up to a 52 gauge string. This particular set is some what are they, Ernie Ball not even slinkies, which are, I believe, 12 to 62. And as you can see, the 62 did not fit. So it's extending. Works just fine. Looks a little silly. Doesn't cause any problems. In fact, I could even cut the ball off if I didn't want it to show, because it's literally being held in by the windings. But you know, that's part and parcel for us low tuning big stringer types. Nothing unusual for us, really. you put it out of tune? Absolutely. Yeah, of course you can. Also, I would mention though that these strings haven't been stretched yet, and you know, that makes a big difference too. Even then it wasn't bad, it's just, it's, you know. Wish list. I wish, and for all I know, there may be a way that I haven't discovered yet. I wish there was a way that I could stabilize this guy so it would stand in place here, rather than, I mean, I know some people like their bar to swing around like this. And in fact, I think if I took it apart and tightened the nut on the bottom, I could make it do that, but it would loosen up again with time and use, I think. But it's hardly a deal breaker. Know what to play with a bar because I never use one, and I stay away from Floyd Roses like, well, you know, at the risk of being incredibly cliche and trite, I avoid them like the plague. But does this work? Yep. Will it work even better with some nut lube and with stretching out the strings? Yep. Should you buy one? Maybe. For the price, it's kind of unbeatable. And if you don't like it, it could hardly be easier to turn your guitar back to stock. It would literally be as simple as detuning. Well, chances are your stop bar has holes through it rather than notches, so you'd have to actually take the strings off. But it'd be real simple, just put it that way. It wouldn't take much. Overall, yeah, I'd say it's a success. Yeah, cool little accessory. And the guitar overall, again, I can't stress enough, it was totally worth the purchase price. Does it say Gibson on it? Yep. Would I care if it didn't? Nope. Does it diminish it in any way? Nope. Oh, and of course it didn't actually say Gibson per se when it arrived. It had on some silly sticker that said Seabald or something. I don't remember. I've gotten so many of these and they've all had different little gold stickers that just cover the Gibson logo and usually have some stupid name that, you know, it's a joke. I mean, there's no way that the people in customs don't know. I just think that you're probably dealing with people that don't make a hell of a lot of money per hour and probably don't care that much. If it's something really blatant, you know, if they just left the Gibson logo visible, sure, they might call it out because they don't want to, the particular person doesn't want to get flagged for not doing the job. But whatever. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs. You already have your own opinions and moral standing on whether or not these things are worthy of owning or not, and I'm not going to change your mind. For me, yeah, I'm not going to try selling it off. As a matter of fact, I should mention something else I bought, and yes, it was on Temu. I actually bought a branding iron. And if you can see, I realize it's going to be, there we go. Yes, it is indeed a branding iron that says fake. My intention is to, well, it's not to buy the torch, but get one of those little handheld butane torches, heat this bad boy up, and I want to emboss that into the back of the headstock of every Chipson that I own, and every non-Chipson that's, you know, my faux dentable, for instance, my pretend Kauai moonsault over there, whatever it is, I fully intend to brand them as fake so that they can't ever be sold on to somebody else in the future, because I'm certainly not going to do it. I'll tell people exactly what it is, and I'll say it's a great friggin' guitar, take it or leave it, you know, when indeed I do ever decide to sell any of these things. But great guitar, pretty cool little wang bar here accessory. Definitely use strap locks, or, well, it's also the fact that strap's a little wore out. But anyway, yeah, it's all good. What else did I want to mention? The fret fixer, I'm going to do a feature on in the future. But if you can't wait in the meantime, go to Reverb and look up fret fixer. I think that's the only place you can buy them, and they're about 99 bucks. With free shipping, I believe. And the last thing I would mention is, you might have noticed this this lovely, ever so slightly relict Chipson SG over here. Also a Temu purchase. I believe I got that one especially inexpensively because I had a great coupon. But I have a friend named Will who, as a hobby, started painting guitars. It soon became a passion, and then he turned that passion into a business. And he contacted me and said, "Hey, I've got a great idea for a guitar for you, a finish. You got something I could paint?" And I said, "Yep, I have just the thing." So I don't really know the details yet, but it's going to be worthy of its own episode when it happens, because I've seen some of Will's work, and it's, I mean, damn near pro quality. I mean, if it's not pro quality, it's pro enough for me. You know, we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, yeah, stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the fret fixer. Stay tuned for a hell of a lot more Chipson content. In the comments below, let me know your thoughts. Do you want more Chipsons? From what I've seen already, you guys love them. Or at least love seeing reviews on them. I think some of you just love bitching about them. And I'm happy to cater to you as well. So mention in the comments below how you feel about that. What else you'd like to see in the future. Where you're viewing from. You know, all the usual things. Anything you want to talk about. Suggestions. Critiques. It's all good. I'm happy to answer any comment you have to make. Good, bad, or ugly. So until next time. As I like to say, stay cool, stay frosty. Don't take any wooden nickels unless you collect them. Be good to yourself and others. Play your damn guitar, whatever it is. Just pick it up and play it. Steve out.